So again, we talk about rising taxes. We talk about how the elasticity is very important for how much of those taxes result in increasing prices. This has a name that we're going to discuss. It's called tax incidence. Tax incidence is essentially how the tax burden is divided between consumers and producers. A nice little shorthand that we have here that we can already kind of see from the previous examples, but we're also going to show in more explicit form, but we'll just put it right here, right? That if demand is more inelastic, meaning steeper, right, than supply, then consumers bear the most tax burden. And then if demand is more elastic than supply, it is the sellers or the producers who bear most of the tax burden. So how can we see this? Well, an excise tax introduces a wedge, essentially, and we have this older price. So the price of the excise tax is this full purple triangle here. So the distance between, this is essentially if they said, there's a new tax of, $3 a pack, right? And if this was 2, then this would then be 5. And if the amount of people that are now buying cigarettes for the sake of ease is just 100, then that means that this excise tax, this whole rectangle here, the amount of money that the government's getting is going to be equal to what? 5 times 100, which gives us $500. Oh, sorry, why did I say 5? 3 times 100. That's what happens when you make up examples on the fly. 3 times 100, because the tax is 3, and that gives us $300. So this full rectangle here is $300. But how is this impacting consumers compared to producers, right? Since it's so inelastic, the part that consumers are paying is this part that's above the equilibrium, below there. So this is what's called the consumers incident, consumers tax incidence. And we can just see graphically, right, that this blue rectangle here, and if we again kind of use some easy numbers here, what if we say that that's 3, then this is going to be 2 times 100. So this blue rectangle here has an area of 200, right? So consumers are paying $200 of the $300 of the new taxes, which then leaves the extra $100 to be paid by, you guessed it, the producers, right? This part here is going to be the producer tax incidence. And we can just figure it out because 300 minus 200 is 100, but we can double check our work, right? 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 times 100 means that this is going to be 100 as my producer tax incident. So we can just see that my consumers are paying twice as much of the taxes as producers when this tax is enforced. So this is the way that we model taxes. We model them as decreases in supply. But just because they're modeled as decreases in supply does not mean that they are just a producer problem, right? Depending on the elasticity, a lot of that tax incidence is probably going to be passed on to the consumer. Now let's talk about tax incidence for this situation with a very a very elastic demand curve, right? So this time we're going to be looking at this rectangle here. And in this rectangle here, again, the distance of this, let's just stick with that cigarette example, right? If we say that this is a $3 tax, perhaps. My tablet's wonking out on me here.